Do you ever notice how in a room full of people, there's always that one person who naturally commands attention? They don't necessarily have to be the loudest, the best dressed, or the most conventionally attractive, yet somehow they stand out. And when it comes to dating and relationships, this is exactly what makes someone choose them over the sea of other options. So the question isn't just, how do I make someone like me? It's, how do I become the person they can't ignore? Because let's be honest, people don't always choose the best option. They choose the most compelling one. And being compelling has nothing to do with playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It has everything to do with how you show up, how you make them feel, and the way you carry yourself in their presence. Think about the last time you met someone who left a lasting impression on you. Maybe they weren't even someone you were initially drawn to, but the way they spoke, the energy they carried, and the way they made you feel, those things stuck with you. They weren't just another person in the crowd. They had something different about them. That something is what makes all the difference. A lot of people try to compete on external factors. They think if I dress better, if I become more physically attractive, if I have more accomplishments, then they'll choose me. Now, don't get me wrong. Taking care of yourself, feeling confident in your own skin, and having goals in life are important. But if that's all it took, then the most attractive, successful people would never get rejected. And we know that's not the case. What makes someone irresistible isn't the surface level stuff. It's the way they make people feel when they're around them. It's their ability to create an experience that no one else does. It's their confidence, not the kind that's arrogant or performative, but the kind that makes someone think, wow, this person knows who they are. So, how do you stand out in a way that makes someone choose you? It starts with certainty. Not certainty about them, but certainty about yourself. Because when you're sure of who you are, what you bring to the table and what you stand for, that energy is magnetic. People don't just see it, they feel it. They sense that you're not just another option trying to win their approval. You're someone with your own life, your own standards, and your own sense of direction. And that's rare. You ever been around someone who is so comfortable in their own skin that it makes you feel more comfortable? That's the effect you want to have. When you're genuinely confident, you give off a different energy. You don't over-explain yourself. You don't feel the need to prove your worth. You're just there, fully present, fully engaged, and completely unapologetic about who you are. And that's intoxicating. Most people try to impress. They list their accomplishments. They tell stories that make them look good. They try to say the right thing. But you know what's actually impressive? Someone who's just real. Someone who can laugh at themselves, who can be playful, who can talk about their passions without filtering everything through the lens of, will this make them like me? Because that's what creates connection. That's what makes someone stop and think, there's something different about this person. And let's talk about emotional presence. Because if you want to be someone they choose, you need to be someone they can feel. That means being present in the moment, actually listening instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. It means responding in a way that makes them feel seen instead of just impressed. Most people are so focused on trying to say something interesting that they forget to be interested. But the most captivating people are the ones who make you feel captivating. When someone is with you, do they feel more alive, more understood, more inspired? That's what makes them come back. Not because you're the most attractive or the most accomplished, but because of the way they feel in your presence. Now, let's address something important, scarcity. Because what's rare is valuable. If you're always available, always seeking their validation, always trying to prove your worth, you blend in with everyone else who's doing the same thing. But when you carry yourself like someone who chooses where they put their time and energy, you naturally become more desirable. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you genuinely have a life that's fulfilling with or without them. It's easy to get caught up in thinking, what do they want? How can I be the person they're looking for? But But that's the wrong approach. The real question is, what kind of person do I want to be? What kind of experience do I want to create in my relationships? Because when you shift from chasing to choosing, everything changes. Think about it. If you walk into a room with the mindset of, I hope they like me, you immediately put yourself in a weaker position. But if you walk in thinking, I'm here to have fun, to connect, to be my full self, and if we vibe, great. If not, that's okay too. You carry yourself completely differently. You stop seeking approval and start showing up as someone worthy of being chosen. And that's what creates attraction. And finally, let's talk about one of the biggest game changers, having standards. Because the moment you start seeing yourself as the prize, the moment you stop settling for breadcrumbs, the moment you recognize that your time, energy, and love are valuable, everything shifts. You don't need to beg for someone's attention. You don't need to convince them to pick you. You just need to be someone who knows their worth and isn't afraid to walk away if they don't see it. That's when you become unforgettable. That's when you stand out, not as an option, but as the option. And that is the moment they choose you. Attraction might bring two people together, but it's not what makes someone stay. It's not just about how good you look, how successful you are, or even how charming you can be. Those things matter, sure, but in a world full of options, they are not what set you apart. The real difference comes down to the depth of connection you create with someone, the way you make them feel when they're around you. Think about the people you truly cherish in your life. They're not just the most attractive people you've met. They're not just the funniest or the most successful. They're the ones who make you feel seen. They make you feel understood. When you're around them, you don't feel like you have to prove yourself. You feel like you belong. And that is the key. Most people try to stand out by showing off their best qualities. They want to be funnier, more exciting, more impressive. But here's the truth. A deep emotional connection is what creates a lasting impact. The world is full of distractions, and people are constantly moving from one shiny thing to the next. But when someone feels something powerful around you, that experience becomes irreplaceable. They stop looking at what's next, because in that moment, they've found something they don't want to lose. So how do you create that kind of connection? It starts with your presence. When you're with someone, are you really with them? Or are you waiting for your turn to talk, thinking about what to say next, or distracted by what's happening around you? People can sense when they don't have your full attention, and when they do, it's rare. In a world where everyone is constantly distracted, simply being present and engaged makes you stand out in a way that nothing else can. The second piece is curiosity. Most people think they're good at conversation, but what they're actually good at is talking about themselves. The secret to making someone feel a deep connection with you is not in how much you share, it's in how much you get them to share. Ask questions that make them think. Go beyond the surface. If someone tells you they had a long day, don't just say, "Oh yeah, me too." Ask, what made it feel so long? If they mention something they love, don't just nod. Dive into it. What is it about that excites you? When someone feels like they can open up to you in a way they don't with other people, they start to associate you with that rare feeling of being truly understood. But it's not just about asking questions. It's about listening in a way that makes them feel safe. Most people listen to respond. They listen to relate it back to their own experience. But when you listen to understand, without judgment, without immediately shifting the focus back to yourself, something powerful happens. People let their guard down. They stop performing and start being real with you. And in that moment, a bond forms that is stronger than attraction alone. Now, here's something important to remember. Emotional connection isn't just about deep, serious conversations. Yes, vulnerability matters. Yes, being open and understanding is key, but connection is also built in those little shared moments of laughter, of playfulness, of feeling like you're in on a secret together. It's in the inside jokes. It's in the playful teasing. It's in those moments when you both just get each other without having to explain it. People fall for the way you make them feel in your presence. When someone walks away from spending time with you, do they feel drained or energized? Do they feel like they had to work to keep the conversation going, or did it flow effortlessly? Do they feel lighter, more excited, more seen? That's what determines whether they crave more time with you or whether they move on to the next option. Because at the end of the day, people don't choose the person who looks the best on paper. They choose the person who makes their world feel brighter. And let's talk about something that often gets overlooked: the power of making someone feel valued. So many people spend time trying to impress others, hoping that if they show how great they are, they'll be chosen. But the real magic happens when you flip the script. Instead of focusing on whether they like you, start paying attention to whether you like them. Find things about them that genuinely intrigue you. Appreciate the little things they bring to the table. Make them feel like they are special, not because you're trying to win them over, but because you truly see them in a way others don't. People are drawn to those who make them feel significant. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about trying to trick someone into choosing you. It's about building something real, something meaningful, something that lasts. You can't fake this kind of connection. You can't force it, but you can cultivate it by showing up in a way that is genuine, engaged, and fully present. So many people get stuck in their own heads when they like someone. They overanalyze every interaction, wondering if they said the right thing, if they were funny enough, if they seemed impressive. But the truth is, the most attractive thing you can do is get out of your own head and simply be there with the other person. When you stop worrying about how you're coming across and start focusing on how you can create an experience that feels effortless and connected, everything changes. At the end of the day, people remember the way you made them feel. If you can be the person who makes someone feel understood, appreciated, and alive, you'll be the one they keep coming back to. And when they realize that no one else makes them feel quite the same way, the choice becomes easy. They won't just want to be with you, they won't want to be without you. People don't fall for words, they fall for experiences. No one wants to be convinced into choosing someone. They want to feel it. And the way you make someone feel is everything. The reality is, attraction gets their attention, but the way you make them experience life when they're around you is what makes them stay. Think about it. The people who have impacted you the most aren't the ones who talked endlessly about why they're great, but the ones who made you feel something unforgettable. They made you laugh in a way that made you lose track of time. They made you feel seen when you doubted yourself. They made life more exciting simply by being in it. And that's the key, because it's not just about being interesting. It's about making life more interesting for them when you're around. So how do you do that? It's about giving them a taste of what life with you feels like. It's about embodying the energy you bring into a relationship, not just talking about it. Think of it like this. Imagine you're at a restaurant and a waiter is describing a dish to you. They go on about how amazing it is, how incredible the flavors are, how perfectly it's cooked. It sounds good, but it's just words. Now imagine instead they bring you a small sample, just enough for you to taste it. The moment that flavor hits your tongue, you don't need convincing. You want more. That's exactly what you need to do when you want someone to choose you. Let them taste what life with you is like, rather than trying to explain it. This is where most people get it wrong. They focus on saying the right things, proving their worth, or overcompensating in some way, hoping that effort alone will be enough. But the truth is, effort without experience doesn't create connection. If you want someone to see your value, you have to let them feel it. When they spend time with you, it should be an experience they don't get anywhere else. Maybe it's the way you make them laugh at things they never noticed before. Maybe it's the way you create a space where they feel completely at ease without the pressure to impress. Maybe it's the way you challenge them in a way that excites them, pushing them to think differently, to feel differently, to want differently. Whatever it is, the key is to make their time with you something they start craving. Now, there's something important here. This doesn't mean performing or pretending to be someone you're not. It's not about trying to be the most entertaining person in the room or bending over backward to keep them interested. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about tapping into your own natural energy, the qualities that already make you magnetic, and allowing them to come through effortlessly, when you're fully present, when you're having fun, when you're genuinely engaged in the moment, that's when people feel the most drawn to you. Because it's not just about making them like you, it's about making them feel something that no one else makes them feel. Here's the thing about attraction. It thrives in contrast. If every moment with you feels the same, if every interaction is predictable, there's no sense of adventure, no reason for them to chase more of it. But when you create moments of lightness and depth, excitement and comfort, challenge and ease, that's when people feel alive around you. You become the person who shakes up their world in the best way. One moment, you're laughing about something ridiculous, and the next, you're sharing a thought that makes them see something in a whole new light. That's the kind of dynamic that makes someone think, I don't want to lose this. The best part, when you do this right, you don't have to convince anyone to choose you. They will naturally gravitate towards you because being around you feels different. It feels like something they don't want to let go of. And that's the whole point. People don't make decisions based purely on logic. They make decisions based on how they feel. And when someone associates you with feeling incredible, feeling inspired, feeling challenged in a way they never have before, that's when they start to see you as irreplaceable. So instead of worrying about how to get someone to choose you, start focusing on how you make them feel when they're around you. Because the right person isn't just looking for the best option on paper. They're looking for the one who makes life better simply by being in it. And that is how you stand out. Scarcity creates value. It's one of the most powerful forces in attraction, yet so many people overlook it. We live in a world where people are used to instant gratification. Everything is on demand: food, entertainment, even relationships. With a swipe, a click, or a simple text, options are endless. And because of that, people don't always realize the value of something when it's too easy to obtain. The same applies to you. If someone feels like they can have you no matter what they do, they won't fully appreciate you. Think about the times in your life when you've really wanted something, a job, a dream opportunity, maybe even an item you had your eyes on for months. What made it so desirable? Part of it was that it wasn't easily accessible. You had to work for it. You had to prove something, to earn it in some way. That challenge created excitement. It made it feel special. The same principle applies to relationships. When you communicate, even subtly, that you're willing to walk away if someone isn't valuing you, you automatically command more respect. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but if I walk away, won't they just move on to someone else? That's the fear, isn't it? The idea that if you set a boundary, you'll lose them. But here's what's really happening. When you show that you're willing to walk away, you're showing them that you have standards, that you're not afraid to be alone rather than be with someone who isn't meeting you at your level. And that in itself is incredibly attractive. The moment you start acting like you need someone to choose you, you lower your value in their eyes. Neediness is repellent, not because people are cruel, but because it signals that you're not bringing enough to the table yourself. People are drawn to those who have something going on, people who are secure, confident, and self-sufficient. That's why walking away isn't about playing games or manipulating someone into wanting you. It's about truly believing that you deserve to be with someone who values you, and that if they don't, you'll be just fine without them. Let's be clear. Walking away doesn't mean storming off dramatically or cutting people off at the first sign of difficulty. It's about communicating with your actions more than your words, that you are not an option to be taken for granted. If you constantly make yourself available to someone who isn't reciprocating your energy, you are training them to believe that your presence requires no effort on their part. And once they believe that, they stop trying. This is where people get stuck. They think that if they just show more love, invest more, or prove how amazing they are, the other person will finally see their worth. But relationships don't work that way. Someone doesn't appreciate you more because you overextend yourself. They appreciate you more when they feel your absence and realize what life is like without you. There is an undeniable power in silence. If someone is used to you always being there, always picking up the phone, always making an effort, and suddenly you stop, they will notice. they will start to question, wait, where did that person go? Why aren't they chasing me anymore? And in that space, they have the opportunity to realize what they stand to lose. The people who truly value you will step up. The ones who don't will reveal themselves. And that's a gift, because it saves you from wasting more time. We've all seen it before. Someone who bends over backward for a person who barely gives them the time of day. They make excuses for their behavior, justify the lack of effort, and hold on to the hope that things will change. But the truth is, nothing changes unless you change. The moment you decide that you will not be part of a dynamic where your value is overlooked, everything shifts. You start attracting people who respect and admire your standards. You stop tolerating situations that drain you. And most importantly, you gain confidence in yourself because you know that you are choosing you first. Walking away isn't an ultimatum. It's not about trying to scare someone into choosing you. It's about having the self-respect to say, I know what I bring to the table, and I refuse to beg someone to sit with me. It's about understanding that love at its best is a mutual choice, not something that needs to be coerced or convinced. People often confuse attachment with love. They stay in situations that don't serve them because they feel emotionally tied to the person. But real love, the kind that lasts, doesn't require you to compromise your self-worth. If someone is not showing up for you in the way you deserve, the bravest thing you can do is step back and give them the space to realize what they stand to lose. And if they don't realize it, then they were never the right person for you to begin with. The beauty of this mindset is that it shifts your energy. Instead of focusing on how to make someone want you, you focus on becoming the person who is effortlessly wanted. And when you show up with that kind of confidence, with that kind of certainty in your value, people will naturally gravitate toward you, not because you forced them to, but because they recognize that someone like you is rare. And that is how you truly make someone choose you, not by begging, not by proving, but by being someone they don't want to lose. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be someone you're proud of. And that's where most people get it wrong. They think attraction is about doing something to make someone choose them, when in reality, it's about being someone they'd naturally be drawn to. And that doesn't come from a place of desperation or from trying to fit into a mold of what you think someone else wants. It comes from living in a way that excites you, that inspires you, and that makes other people want to be a part of what you're creating. See, most people put all their focus on the other person. They ask, how do I get them to like me? How do I get them to choose me over everyone else? But that's the wrong approach. The real question is, how do I show up as the best version of myself so that they naturally gravitate toward me? Because the moment you stop trying to be chosen and start living as someone who's undeniably magnetic, the entire game changes. Think about the people you're most attracted to, the ones who make you stop in your tracks. They're not begging for attention. They're not proving their worth to anyone. They simply are the kind of person you want to be around. They radiate a sense of confidence and ease because they're not waiting for external validation to feel good about themselves. And that's exactly what makes them so damn attractive. So ask yourself, when you wake up in the morning, are you excited about your life? Are you pursuing things that light you up? Do you have passions, interests, and goals that make you feel alive? Because when you do, you don't have to chase anyone. They feel your energy. They see the way you move through the world, and they want to be part of it. That's the key to making someone choose you. Not because you convince them, but because they realize they'd be crazy not to. And let's be clear, this isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. This isn't about putting on a show to appear more impressive. It's about truly becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the right people into your life. Because here's what most people do. They try to mirror the interests of the person they're into. They mold themselves into whatever shape they think will be most appealing. And in doing so, they lose the very thing that makes them special. And that's a dangerous game. Because even if it works in the short term, eventually that facade fades. And you're left wondering why the connection didn't last. Real attraction isn't about being what someone wants. It's about being so deeply in love with your own life that the right people can't help but want to be part of it. This is why confidence is so powerful. But confidence isn't just about how you look, how you speak, or how you carry yourself. It's about knowing deep down that you bring something valuable to the table, that you don't need anyone to complete you because you are already whole. And that's what shifts everything. When you walk into a room with that energy, when you approach relationships from that place, people feel it. You stop asking, am I enough for them? And start asking, are they aligned with the kind of life I'm creating? And that's what turns the tables. That's what makes you the one they want to choose. Now, I know some people will say, but what if I'm not there yet? What if I don't feel confident or fulfilled in my life? And that's okay. This isn't about being perfect overnight. It's about making small, intentional changes every day that bring you closer to the person you want to be. Maybe it's picking up a hobby you've always wanted to try. Maybe it's pushing yourself to go after that career move you've been too scared to make. Maybe it's simply committing to taking better care of yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally, because every step you take toward living a life that excites you is a step toward becoming someone who naturally attracts others. The truth is, the most attractive thing in the world isn't how you look. It's not the words you say, it's the energy you carry. It's the passion you exude when you talk about what you love. It's the way you light up when you're doing something that sets your soul on fire. That's what people remember. That's what makes them want to choose you over anyone else. And the best part, when you focus on becoming this kind of person, you stop worrying about whether someone will choose you because you already know your value. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to be, and the right people will recognize it. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to win someone over is making it too obvious that they want to be chosen. The moment someone feels pressured, they pull away. It's human nature. People want to feel like they are making a choice, not being backed into a corner. The irony is, the more you try to force a decision, the less likely they are to make it in your favor. Think about the last time you walked into a store and a salesperson immediately hovered over you asking if you needed help. Even if you were interested in buying something, you probably felt an urge to say, I'm just looking. Why? Because when we feel like someone is pushing us toward a decision, we instinctively resist. It's not that we don't want what's in front of us. It's that we want to feel in control of choosing it. In relationships, the same dynamic plays out. When someone feels like they're being pursued too aggressively, when they sense that they are the prize and you're the contestant, hoping to win them over, they naturally start to devalue what's being offered. But when someone feels like they are making the choice, when they are drawn toward you rather than pulled, they become far more invested. So how do you create that feeling? It starts with detaching yourself from the outcome. Most people operate from a place of, I hope they like me. But that frame is all wrong. The real question should be, do I like them? When you show up with that mindset, you stop seeking approval and start observing. You stop trying to perform and start being present. And that shift in energy is everything. It changes how you carry yourself. It changes how they perceive you. Instead of feeling like they have all the power, they sense that you are also evaluating them. When someone feels like they are being given a choice rather than being pressured into one, they begin to engage differently. They start wondering about you. They start questioning whether they are measuring up to your standards. And suddenly the entire dynamic shifts. Instead of you feeling like you have to impress them, they start feeling the pull of wanting to impress you. Now, this doesn't mean you play mind games. It's not about being aloof or emotionally unavailable. It's about embodying the kind of confidence that says, I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. And if you recognize that, great. If not, that's okay too. When you communicate that kind of energy, people take notice. They start realizing that you're not just an option. They start seeing you as the option. And that's when they begin to choose you, not because they feel obligated, but because they want to. This also means resisting the urge to constantly remind them of your value. A lot of people fall into the trap of over-explaining, justifying, or trying to prove why they deserve to be chosen. But true value doesn't need to be announced. It's felt. Imagine you're at a high-end restaurant. The waiter doesn't need to convince you that the meal is amazing. The way it's presented, the quality of the ingredients, the way it's served, it all speaks for itself. That's how you should be in a relationship. Let your actions, your confidence, your presence, and your energy do the talking. The second you start listing out reasons why someone should choose you, you send a message that you don't believe those reasons speak for themselves. And when you do that, you give away your power. You make it too easy for them to take you for granted because they sense that you need them to choose you. And neediness, whether it's spoken or unspoken, is never attractive. Attraction thrives on desire, not obligation. People want to be around someone who makes their life better, not someone who makes them feel like they have to be there. The best way to make someone feel like they want to be with you is to show them that you're perfectly fine on your own, that you have a life filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment, whether or not they choose to be a part of it. This is where most people struggle. They put their life on pause the moment they become interested in someone. They start over-investing before anything has even been established. They cancel plans. They stop doing the things that bring them joy. They start making their availability too predictable, their presence too easy, their world too small. And in doing so, they lose the very thing that made them attractive in the first place, their individuality. The truth is, people don't fall in love with someone who makes them their entire world. They fall in love with someone who has a world they want to be a part of. They fall in love with someone who is already living a life that excites them. So instead of trying to win them over, focus on building that life. Focus on being the most vibrant, passionate, fulfilled version of yourself. The version of you that is so magnetic, so undeniably compelling, that choosing you feels like the most obvious decision in the world. And that's the secret. It's not about getting them to pick you. It's about making it impossible for them not to.